Hello Internet, I'm Doc Eon. I'm welcoming you to this ramble for Monday, the 6th of May, 2019. I'm going to talk a bit about miniatures. And I'm going to start, as always, with finished minis since last week. And in the first batch here, we start out with the Reaper Bones Black Orc Shaman, or Shaman, not sure how to pronounce it, who I painted up last Monday, actually, at the store. And he's kind of dark and gloomy, but I felt that was appropriate. Now, in the rear, we have two different sets of minis that are kind of related. Let's start with these. Let's start with the ones on the Hellscape basis. These ladies are all from Hassle-Free minis. This one is naked. And, well, this one is not. This one is fully armored. You'll recall that she was almost finished last week, but the green hair was bothering me, so I made it purple instead. And then this one is the one that has come the longest way since last time you saw it. The purple on her robe is actually the same as the hair on that other mini. I tried to capture a little Maleficent vibe, you know, from she felt with the shape of the horns. I think it was reminded me of you know, that semi-recent movie with Angelina Jolie. So I painted her dark colors, but a few different colors. There's purple and green and gray in there. And it's kind of muted, not popping much, but I thought that was appropriate. There's some pop in the sort of fiery bits in the bases. And then we have these three, which are vaguely related in that they're sci-fi minis, all, but they're from different manufacturers. We have the little space elf, or whatever, from Hassle-Free. I don't know, I just got this idea of an orange jumpsuit, you know, like a cosmonaut, an old school Russian space explorer. And I added a lot of flowers and stuff to her base just to make it seem like it's some weird alien planet. Then we have a bombshell miniature with her pet, which is in a lot of different metallics, actually, almost all of it. There's a blue metallic from Vallejo Air, and the gold is from Vallejo Game Color. It's the brightest gold color, and then there's very steel and bronze things on the gun. The cat was kind of difficult to get the right contrast on, but I think it came out okay. I perhaps instinctively tried to make the fur remind you of the gold color on the armor, though not using metallics, of course. Well, you be the judge of how well I did. And then there's finally this Joan of Arc, the Infinity miniature. I don't know, I guess I have to apologize to the Infinity fans out there. I could not really do this miniature justice. There's these minis, the armor is cast with so much tiny little detail. It's really impossible to capture it all. I've kind of faked it a little bit and here's a pro tip for you: if the paint job is a bit rough, the right varnish can help. In this case, there's a coat of satin varnish on the armor, and actually on the face and hair as well. Though the cloth and leather, like the belt and the tabard, or whatever it is, are matte varnished. The metal plates here are also satin, while the rim of the base is matte. for a little contrast. Anyway, the satin varnish, the sheen of it, actually helps to disguise the roughness of the paint job, I find. Interesting effect. But anyway, I got through it, and it's not my proudest work, but it's okay, I suppose, for the tabletop. But what do I spy with my little eye? Well, even more finished minis. We have here some of the Orlok Nation, with some with their butts hanging out. He should pull up his pants. This faction from what's it called? Alchemy. So I finished painting up the 4 big brutes, and you'll see the rest of them soon. And this little froggy-looking guy. I'm not sure why he belongs with the others. He doesn't look anything like them, but you know, I guess these guys could double as some sort of ogres or big orcs. They like this low-hanging loincloth thing, showing the cracks. Almost all of them do it. Whoops. Resin models are very light and fall over easily. See? This one too. This is not America's ass. Anyway. In this case, the sort of semi-gloss finish is not... This is actually not satin varnish. This is simply... I always do 2-step varnishing. I do gloss first and then matte. And if you simply go light with the matte, you don't do as heavy a coat of that, then some of the sheen remains, and you can kind of get a satin look without using satin varnish. It's kind of requires a light touch, and it was not fully intentional in this case, but I liked how it came out, so I didn't go back with the second coat of the matte. I just let it be. And yeah. So I look extremely productive this week. Here we have the remaining 8 of the Orlok Nation dudes from that faction of Alchemy. They have some rough base coats on them. Elevated base coat on the skin tone, because they're going to be sort of grayish white. If you look at the artwork on the boxes, they have these guys, the skinny guys with the sort of bird heads. They all have almost dead white skin. I'm going to paint them perhaps not that pale, but paler than the big brown dudes at least. I've worked on the bases. You can see I have an undercoat on the wooden and metal star bits. But that's just about it. I mean, again, I'm going to do what I regard as speed painting here. So I can't see myself spending more than another week on these guys. I mean, what I've done so far is just little bits I've done in between other things while I've been waiting for the paint to dry on something that I've had further along in the queue. But now that these are going to be my first priority for a while, I think they'll get finished pretty soon. Now here we're looking at the newest prepped stuff. And first off, we have these 2 ladies, which I intend to bring to the game store tonight to paint there. And again, if you've ever read Asterix and Obelix, you can see the inspiration, right? Pretty clearly. The only way it could have been more clear is if there had been a little dog to go along with one of them. Yeah. Maybe I should try to scratch one up. I don't know. But anyway, these are typical hassle-free sculpts, very clean, very clear. and legible, readable. So yeah, feeling good about them. The remaining 3, which were this grab bag of resin stuff, if we start with the Summer Night here, she was relatively easy to put together. This is again, this is a pretty clear sculpt. There were some bits. There were 2 little sets of very, very thin feathers, and the only thing I can think of is that they were supposed to attach to these plates on her upper arms. And I tried to fiddle with them for a while, but they were so fragile that they broke, and honestly, if I'd glued them on there with just super glue, there's no way they could have stayed on. I mean, they would have fallen off from just trying to paint them. Just the pressure of the paintbrush would have, broken them. It was like wafer thin. Also, they would have stuck out. They would have obscured the sword. So I threw them away. Is what I'm saying, and I'm kind of happy they broke almost. Here we have the remaining 2 were really difficult. These were some of the hardest. Well, not this one. This one, the head was okay. I pinned it. The scythe was, well, it's a bit shorter than it was originally because I tried to glue the scythe head to the top of the staff. That would not hold. So what I did was I could drill a hole into the scythe head. It's, you see that the division line is here. So the upper part I was able to drill into. The lower part, that was not possible. So what I did was simply whittle it down so it became a pin and inserted the head onto that to give it a little bit more stability. And that's why, yeah, it looks the way it does. Again, the sword, hopefully you can't tell unless I point it out, but just gluing this thing flat to her thigh would not work. It would not stick. So what I actually did was I drilled into her leg and put a pin in there, and there was this little loop already attached to the sword, and that fit right onto the pin. So you can you can sort of see here, now that I'm pointing it out, this bit here is a bit of brass rod sticking out. And that's what's holding the whole thing. But once it's painted, I'll try to obscure that so you won't think about it. Now the really difficult part was this arm. It's like bent, so there was no way to apparently to have it in the mold as it was, and to get both the snake and the arm to look good. So it was a separate piece. It's been glued on. There's no way to pin it. It's just holding with super glue. It's gonna fall off if I touch it too hard. And there's lots and lots of material around it here now, and I'm scared to touch that. I'm just gonna have to paint it black and hope nobody looks there. You can see, yeah, some of the detail of the snake has been obscured by my puttying and gluing. So that was a chore. Finally, this one. Oh boy. I did eventually manage to drill into this leg and foot and pin her to the base. And she's kind of leaning backwards, but that's okay. There's also some pinning of the arms. I mean, both arms were separate, but didn't include the hands. The hands are attached. This hand is attached to the sword and is pinned into the arm there. This arm is pinned into the shoulder there. This arm is pinned into the shoulder there.
this hand is attached to the axe and is pinned into the arm here. And this is why there is a lot of I've done a lot of gluing, a lot of gap filling, and the joins are not perfectly smooth, but I'm gonna try to live with it. And if the ponytail was separate, it's glued into a hole in the back of her head, and it's not pinned as such. There was like a resin nub there. That would probably fall off again if I touch it too hard with a paintbrush. But yeah, these are gonna be. I mean, I don't really paint display minis for actual display, but I don't see how these would stand up to the handling of using them in gaming. So they're gonna have to stay in one of my display cases once they're done. That's probably gonna be their final destination. Anyway, that was a much ado about miniatures. This is everything you've seen before. After the stats, I'll talk about new stuff.
So let's start planning out some new projects. And first up, for models I intend to prep to bring to the store painting evening next Monday, I chose these two. One hassle-free mini called Major Stephanie, who's a lady in some sort of uniform with a Tommy gun. And on the other hand, a Reaper miniature called RC Sophie 2015. This is ReaperCon Sophie 2015, special promo mini from that year's ReaperCon. And you can't really tell from all the bits and pieces, but it's a sci-fi version of Sophie the Succubus, where she doesn't have her bat wings. She has some sort of jetpack that is sort of wing shaped instead, and some sort of armor, sort of high-tech stuff. And the reason I picked out these two in particular is I have a theme in mind for them. But I'll explain when you see them assembled and primed next week. I can probably explain better my idea. So what else do we have going on? Well, I actually got something in the mail. A package from Hassle-Free. Why did I buy new minis? Well, really, I was after the bases. These are a bunch of 30 and 40 millimeter blank bases, which will hopefully last me the rest of this year. Hassle-Free is one of my main suppliers for that. They sell them really cheap in bulk. But while I was there, I thought, well, let's pick up some minis as well. And I picked up these four. Now let me see. And the reason I picked up these particular four is that you remember how I painted those succubi a while back? And naked female demons? Well, Hassle-Free makes some incubi as well. These are naked male demons. We have the 3 guys from the Incubus set and the sort of bigger, beefier guy called the Cambion Brute. But he's not too big to fit on a 25mm base, apparently. And I got the metal ones this time, not the resin. Because honestly, even the resin masters, sure, take it. The detail is maybe a little bit better than on the metal, but it's not going to be noticeable to the naked eye to most people. So, and the metal is slightly cheaper and more durable. So I've started going with that primarily. I still have a lot of the resin in stock, so to speak, but anyway, we have a lot of the demons with their dicks swinging. I think one of them is even Yeah, this one is jacking off, I think. Really, really, I don't know, you might find it offensive, but I thought I'd be equal opportunity offensive. You know, I've had those, like I said, the naked women, and here's some naked men to make up for it. And so it's these 4 plus these 2, that's 6 minis. I don't think I'm going to prep anymore because I have rather a large backlog, as you've seen earlier in this video. There's a lot of previously prepped stuff still to go through, so I don't think I need to fill the queue with so much stuff this time around. We'll see what happens next week. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's end this for now. I hope you had fun watching. Click like, subscribe, you know, comment, share, that sort of stuff. And I'll see you again next week, same time, ssame channel. I'm Daki Yan, as always. And for now, I'm signing off.